Hello, everybody. Welcome to the summer movie review. This is Harry, aka the Mind of Cube. And as always, later on in the show, I will have my co host, Richard Optimus123, joining me in the show later on. But today we are here reviewing the Expendables Part 3. Just to let you know that there always is a Q&A section. I am actually reminding myself to turn that on right now. So you can always drop me your questions as we go and review the show. This show is always brought to you live, as always, and we enjoy doing it. And I keep on speaking like there's two of us, but right now, as you can see, there's only one of us right now. Richard is having a little bit of technical difficulties, but promises to be on later in the show. So until then, you're stuck with my pretty face until Richard joins the show. Usually I would kick it off to Richard to go ahead and tell us exactly what he thought about the movie, but since he is having technical difficulties, I will go ahead and have to start without him. Give me 1 second. I am currently queuing up the Q&A, so if you sent a couple questions, I do apologize. I haven't gotten them yet, but that's the beauty of live podcasting. You get to learn and live and roll with the punches. So, as I'm doing this, let's talk a little bit about the Expendables as a franchise in a whole. So, as a franchise, these movies are basically meant for men and men only. These movies have gratuitous use of violence in them, and it's a lot of explosions, a lot of loud things going off. Not that much TNA are in these movies. It's mostly just explosions going on. Story is nah. Fighting scenes are excellent. That's the reason why we watch these movies, is the fighting scenes. Now, this is the third movie in the franchise, and usually as you go down into a franchise and you start to think about it, usually the first one is the great hype, and then the second and third one, and so on, start to lose their steam and muster. As with this one, I would have to agree with it. This one didn't impress as much as the first, nor as the second one, which I thought the second one by far was one of the weaker ones in the franchise, but this one here had a little bit more to it than the second one, so kind of did like this one better than the second one, but the first one still by far is the all-time favorite. I feel as though now they're just trying to find as many guys in their 50s and 60s who used to do movies to just go ahead and throw them in an expendable movie. That's really what I feel about the Expendables 3. It had way too many people in it. You really didn't get enough screen time for your favorite action star, which it's going to kind of sound shocking, as I wanted to see Wesley Snipes really get back on the silver screen and show off some of his classic fighting skills. Because if you've seen Passenger 57, still by far, that's one of my favorite action movies of all time. Those fight scenes that he had in that movie were outright amazing. Just amazing stuff. So he did have his own little caveat in the movie where he went on a little rampage by himself, but then it just went away from that. So I was really kind of upset that really didn't get as much Wesley Snipes action, because he's been in jail for quite some time and haven't had a chance to get a Wesley Snipes movie that we used to see. Usually his movies just go straight to DVD, but this one here came to the silver screen. And as we go down the list of action stars, let's just go ahead and hit up Stallone. Yeah, this guy here is probably way past his prime as far as it goes. It's acting in an action movie. He really shouldn't be doing it anymore. It should just be Stallone doing it. And as I talk about the movie, I see that my co-host Richard is now live. Richard, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, sorry I'm running a little late. Murphy's Law interjected on the computer stuff, so that kind of threw things for a little bit of a loop there. So I actually just got out of the movie, actually.
Oh, wow, wow. So the
Yeah,
movie's real fresh in his head.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
just telling
yeah.
the people about the movie, just did a quick rundown of the first two movies in the series, and I was explaining a little bit about the third movie and how, to me, it felt as though it had too many of the action stars in it. They didn't get enough screen time in the movie that I would like to have seen, and I was explaining that Wesley Snipes really wanted to see more from him, because we haven't had a Wesley Snipes movie in quite some time, and that he was pretty amazing in Passenger 57. I know we're talking about 20 years ago
Right.
almost when that movie came out, but it'd be nice to see the guy still had it. And then Stallone, well past his action movie prime. I don't know why he's still getting roles. And then I was going to go down to like everybody else is like a secondary character in this movie, as far as Jason Statham, Dolph Lundgren, Terry Crews, Randy Couture, Jet Li was in the movie for like that long. Arnold Schwarzenegger, even Mel Gibson, the main antagonist. Uh, and then all the new people, Victor Cruz, Ronda Rousey, the two guys I'd never even heard of until this movie came out. It just seemed like they just really just put a lot into the movie. What I really liked about the movie was the quick hits that they did to church the entire movie. Like, what was the one that Harrison Ford said? George's been cut out of this movie or something like that. I was thinking,
Right.
oh, wow, you've seen the other two. You kind of get that line. And how Wesley Snipes
Yeah.
said, yeah, when they asked Wesley Snipes, you've been wild for a long time. Why did you go to jail? Tax evasion. I was just like, wow, he put his real life crime into the movie. So it was kind of good for me. The movie was a fun ride. You really don't go to this movie to see anything dramatic or any great action or any great monologue. I'm sorry, you do go to the movie to see great action. I mean, great acting, great monologues you're not going to get in this movie. It's just meant to entertain and to be a fun ride, and I think it delivered on all fronts of that. So, Richard, go ahead with your take on the
All
movie,
right.
sir.
So you got your opinion of it. I'm going to actually have to totally disagree with you on this one. To be honest with you, it's kind of hard to do a war bullet movie as a PG-13 because I noticed that the gore and everything. I'm not saying you're looking for that, but the gore and everything was really, really toned down. The thing about the movie for me is that it didn't feel like an Expendables movie. First movie I thought was great, like as a concept and what it did, I thought it delivered on all fronts, hands down. Second movie they kind of tried to make it serious, and then I was like, yeah, but this isn't what I'm coming into here for. This one, it just kind of felt like we're doing this because I got the green light to do it, and that I have the budget, and some people decided, hey, I'll come back if I only have to do like 3 days of shooting. That's just kind of how it feels to me. It doesn't feel like there really is any soul to it. It's like I'm watching, I'm just kind of like, you know, the it was. I'll admit, now when they were shooting and stuff, it was like I need these guys to be playing Modern Warfare in like all the tournaments or whatever, because it's like every shot while you're driving 70 miles per hour, just hitting dudes, and I'm like, okay. But the biggest complaint I would say about the movie that makes it really, really weak is that it feels crowded. Like you have all of these previous characters from the original movie, and then you have these other people, and then you have new people that are also ushered in there that were never a part of the franchise before. You have the new Expendables team, and then you have like Harrison Ford thrown in there, and Kelsey Grammer, and Antonio Banderas, and Wesley Snipes. So you have all these people that are in this movie, and it just kind of feels like they're thrown in for little quips, and that's kind of about it. Like I felt like if the movie could have been like a webisode on YouTube, it would have probably worked a whole lot better if they just chopped it up into several different pieces. Uh, you know, the two newcomers that I thought were actually pretty awesome would have to be um, Antonio Banderas and Wesley Snipes. Like when they were there, like that stuff was funny. Especially Antonio Banderas. Sometimes he kind of got annoying, but I thought he was actually funny as a character. So the highlights of the movie, there were some interesting action scenes, but it's like nothing you've really ever seen before. And those two new characters, nobody else really added anything to the movie, in my opinion. The Mel Gibson, to be honest with you, like was completely forgettable. Like they could have added anybody else to do the villain role in this movie. Like even like Jean, I didn't really like the second movie that much. It was okay, but at least Jean-Claude Van Damme, he kind of did his thing in that role, and that just kind of seemed to be the way that it was going. Like he actually seemed like he had fun actually doing the role itself. Mel Gibson, he didn't really even speak until like an hour into the movie. Like, yeah, one line before, and then he didn't speak till like an hour in. I was like, man, this is you can't really be a villain if you really. I understand where he's coming from and his motivation, and that monologue he did was actually kind of imposing. But other than that, he really didn't deliver anything about anything really to go along with carrying the plot or carrying the story. It always seems like these movies are about a revenge plot. Like this seems like we have to kill everybody because of revenge. And I mean, the first movie it kind of made sense. The second movie, not so much. And this movie is just kind of like, okay, yeah. To
Okay,
me,
so
to
we're
me,
about to
to
have.
me, to me, it almost to me. I thought personally it fell kind of flat. Like it had interesting things in it, but to say I wouldn't recommend seeing this movie personally, and that's just me.
Well, hold on. You brought up an excellent point before we get into our movie argument, and
Yeah,
yeah, as far as this movie was PG-13, I didn't even realize this was PG-13. I just looked it up during your little talk right there,
yeah,
and sure enough, it was because I know the first two were definitely rated R, and I looked those up
yeah.
as well. And the first one, the gore wasn't that bad. The second one, the gore was kind of grotesque. And
Right.
this one, when I was thinking about it, like now that you mentioned it, you really didn't see any blood splatter
You
or
saw it
see,
maybe 4 or 5 times at max,
yeah,
and that
like
was kind of it.
there was plenty of knife play, and there were no guns being
Yeah,
thrown
there was
out.
a lot of knives, but knives don't dismember people. They just kind of go in, and that's it. And even then, all that stuff is like quick cut. Like like
Yeah.
you never really see like even the close up, like guys blasting people with shotguns, and it's kind of like, oh, let's like quick cut here, quick cut here. It's like they don't show anyone.
I guess, well, you got to do that to keep a PG-13 rating on it.
Exactly, but that
You
kind
do
of
that.
also makes the movie feel like it's not shot well. It's like all the quick cuts just make the editing seem really really poor because it's just kind of
Yeah.
like here 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 here, and that's what you get. And like I said, it is because they made it a PG-13. They wanted to make it where I guess everybody could go see it. Like I saw this one, like it was weird because the dynamic of the crowd that went to see that saw the movie with, it was like, you got guys like us, and then you have like the dude and his girlfriend, then you have this lady and her kid, and I was like, this is okay. It's just a really really weird dynamic, and I guess because it's PG-13, I guess they feel that they wanted to reach a broader audience, but I think because of that, with all of the extra stuff that they threw into this movie, I guess, kind of to appeal to the old school fan of all these action heroes and all. Like I think you got the Terminator, Han Solo, Blade, Rocky, Rambo. You got all these people like all thrown into this movie to kind of kick the nostalgia kick. But to me, to be honest with you, I really think that this franchise is kind of at its peak. Like you can't really go any further unless they decide to trim some layers back. But right now, I think this is the first movie is the best one, and this one
No
is like
doubt.
each one it just seems like they're trimming stuff out. Like it was funny because I came in, we were talking about Jet Li, like he was in there literally like for like 6 lines, and that is it. And you know he was not in there that much in the second movie, but he kind of did stuff. This movie, he literally, it's like he was just the guy who happened to be manning the turret.
He
Like he
he did
didn't.
what we call is doing a John Sally. He collected a paycheck for doing nothing on a championship team. That's
Right.
basically what Jet Li did.
That's exactly, and that to me is how this movie felt. Like it just felt like we are here because we know that this movie is going to make some money, and we can collect a paycheck for basically doing nothing.
It's
So
it's
it just
basically because like when I went into this movie, I anytime I pop the Expendables in, I know I'm not going to see anything
yeah. I
dramatic.
mean, granted,
I just
yeah,
I just
you
want to
know
see some
that.
people get. I just want to see some arms get broken, some body parts go flying across the screen, and listen to some loud explosions.
Right.
And I thought this movie delivered. I mean, granted, yeah, it took a long time from that opening action sequence to the last 45
Yeah.
minutes or so. It took a while because for some reason this movie is unnecessarily long, just like the Transformers movie is. Like you can just watch the first 10 minutes and then fast forward to the last 45. That whole hour and 15 in between, it's completely unnecessary
Yeah.
with the movie because, like I said, there's nothing dramatic going on. It's the movie is a fun ride in my opinion. I know we're indifferent on this one.
Yeah. You were a little different on this one. Yeah, I'm kind
It's
of.
a fun ride, and it seems like I've gotten a little bit soft in my movie critic days because I kind of do see how you want to trim down some of the blood and gore and violence in the
Yeah.
movie so you can do it for ticket sales. But for
Hmm.
pure fandom, you do kind of hurt the pure action movie fan because we went to the movie to see that. I will say this, that this is probably one of the better sounding movies
I
that
would
I've been in.
I would agree there. I would agree.
I I went to the Amazon Prime theater, and this is the one that has the subwoofers in the chairs and has the sound all around you and above you and in front of you and behind you. It
Hmm.
is quite amazing. It's almost as good as THX deafening without paying the THX price.
Okay.
So yeah, this movie ticket was only I think like $11.
No, that's not
So
too
anybody knows when you go to a THX certified theater, you're paying north of $15, $18
bad. Right.
off the rip. It doesn't matter if it's matinee or not. So for the Amazon Prime, it's definitely a good alternative to THX if you're ever looking for it. Uh, like you said, the movie is very, very crammed. And let's just go ahead and roll into the spoiler. So if you're watching this, you haven't seen the movie, go ahead and exit out and come back and watch us later on. I see we have a couple of viewers as well. If you have any questions that you'd like for us to address, go ahead and address those now. But as now we're talking about the spoilers here. Like we were talking about, Jet Li fires a turret gun on the helicopter and has two lines allude that he's now gay, and that's it. And I wanted to bring that up because I felt as though the director and producers were trying to capture everybody, because when have you ever seen a gay action hero portrayed in a movie like before it actually, how should I say it? Like the actor acting it comes out and says, "Oh, I'm gay and I'm doing an action movie." But no, in this movie you have, it was sort of like an innuendo type thing. Not 100% sure if they really are, but they kind of alluded to. And I thought that was great. I mean, their dollar's just as green as my dollar. Why not get it? Take on that?
Right.
You have an opinion or a take on that, sir?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I didn't really. I was like, okay. I mean, it doesn't take anything or detract anything from the movie for me. I mean, I think it was more of a joke, but I wasn't really sure because I was kind of like, this is a little awkward. But yeah, but by that point, I really didn't care about the movie anymore, so it didn't really make any difference. It didn't really make any difference. Yeah, it's like, whatever. It's like pretty much what it did is it tied off Jet Li's character. Really, is all it did, because he's going to work with the other guy from here on out. So pretty much what they were saying is that, well, Jet Li's not going to be in any more movies, because he pretty much said, I don't really see any point in doing this anymore, so I'm going to just ride out. Because I mean, in the first movie he did awesome stuff. The second movie he did awesome stuff for 5 minutes. This one, he literally got on a turret gun and then just shot stuff. Like, I don't think he even kicked. Like, once.
I don't think he kicked or punched.
Yeah, I was like, yo, how is Jet Li in this movie and you never see him kick or punch a single person?
He ran across a roof with an automatic machine gun rifle.
Yeah.
And that was it. What I really want to talk about was probably my favorite fight scene in the entire movie was that Ronda Rousey, Antonio Banderas, who I thought by far it should have been those two featuring the Expendables, because they stole the show with that action sequence.
Yeah, anytime Antonio Banderas' character was actually on screen, I think that's when it felt like he actually enjoyed being in the movie. Everybody else to me just seemed that they were just kind of there for the sake of being there. It was like, well, I'll take that back. Wesley Snipes too. Like those two, if I was going to say if you want to see them, I can't really even say that because Antonio Banderas had more screen time, I think, than Wesley Snipes did. But if you were like, oh well, you really want to see Wesley Snipes on screen or Antonio Banderas on screen doing what they kind of do best, that's not bad. But yeah, like that fight actually was pretty cool. Now, you can obviously tell that they intercut Rousey's scene a lot with a fight performance double, and it's just because it's like any time when she was doing a fight, it didn't seem like it was really choreographed that well, especially like the very first scene you get when she's like in the club when she's the bouncer. It's like it's intercut so bad to where it's like, I mean, I understand that you're trying to show her face every once in a while because it's really someone else that's actually kicking these guys behinds while wearing heels and a dress. And then on the last sequence, I guess they kind of brought it back where they made it a wider pan in those sequences, and mainly because, it's like they could have a little more liberties be taken. There's more space, and obviously wearing heels is not, that's a pretty dangerous thing to be doing while you're kicking. So yeah, I like that fight sequence. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually pretty cool. Like that ending sequence was actually pretty solid as a whole.
See, and that's what I was going to ask you. Like, did you really think? Because there were some parkour scenes that Antonio Banderas and Wesley Snipes did. Now,
No, no,
granted, these
no,
guys are in their upper 50s, and
no, that wasn't them.
yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say. Because that's what
No.
made the first two movies so great. Was it was the actual old guys, for lack of a better term,
Hmm.
doing those action sequence, and you were just shocked and amazed that wow, they still got it. And when that was the one, that's the huge gripe I have with this movie, was that you could obviously tell, like you mentioned, there were definite scenes where there were doubles in doing
Hmm.
the action sequence for people. I thought the parkour sequence with Wesley Snipes and Antonio Banderas, I was like, okay, yeah, that's definitely somebody else. But when
Right.
Antonio Banderas had his fight scene, I pretty much thought that was him
They
doing it.
cut they cut that one so much better. Like it's just from that first scene that you get, and that second one, like the one you're talking about, they cut that scene a lot better. But it's still, to me, it's like that was the shining moment of that movie. Because even I mean, I don't know, kind of jumping around, but like even the scene with Mel Gibson and Sylvester Stallone at the end was kind of like, wow, this is it. Like,
Yeah, that was the weakest fight scene.
oh,
Yeah, that was awful. It looked
yeah,
like practically like what they should have done was like transpose Carl Weathers' body on top of Mel Gibson because that was like Rocky One where they were just standing in the middle of the ring just throwing haymakers at each other.
yeah,
One of them would fall. It was
right.
it was not pretty. There was nothing special because I was kind of I'll admit I was kind of hyped. I was like I've never seen Mel Gibson, doing
Right.
type of like
Yeah, you kind
MMA
of
type stuff. I'm like maybe this dude did a little jiu-jitsu class. Maybe he's got something.
right.
But I was let down, and
Hmm.
yeah, that was kind of a letdown. And then let's talk about that ending sequence when he's running across the office fake roof to jump onto the helicopter, and I was just like, yeah, you lost me on that one. This is like a transporter movie. Get the I believe button ready and go ahead and hit it. And it feels
Yeah,
as though like I like the movie, and now I'm kind of tearing it down. It's sort of because some of the things that you said were kind of just bluntly fake. But like, what's his name, Victor Ortiz? We all know that he can't act, so let's just give this guy a shotgun and let him run around the complex shooting people.
right.
The guy's a boxer. He could have had a cool boxing sequence with somebody, but
Right, yeah. It's like there was so much. It just felt like it was wasted. It was a lot of wasted opportunity. It's just for me. Like for me, I clearly everybody knows that I don't recommend seeing this movie. It's not Lucy status by no means. There were some interesting things in it, but I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, it's like like when you have all of these people who have special talents or things that they're known for, and you don't capitalize on it, it kind of makes it seem like it's kind of useless. Like you said, like with man, he's a boxer. I mean, and he didn't fight anybody. Like he's just kind of running around with a shotgun. And then like, how are you using a shotgun from like 40 feet away and you're still hitting dudes? I was like,
that
man,
had me laughing. That had me laughing because you mentioned Call of Duty earlier, and I was just thinking, yo, with Victor Ortiz to shoot at these guys way down, with a shotgun, I know that as yo, just line up your rifle and pow, pick him off because this dude is obviously is a noob.
right? Oh man, I was like, oh come on.
Yeah, it was quite hilarious with him. Yeah, missed opportunities. So let's just go ahead and move into the rankings for this movie here, and I'm gonna give this movie two different rankings.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said with the last show, we have the Captain America good, and then the Lucy bad, with the 21 Jump Street and your Edge of Tomorrow go see type movies, and 22 Jump Street, nothing else is better to do, so you go watch that. So with this one here, I want to give it two different ratings, and the first one is going to be a B. A B because the movie, to me, felt as though as a pure action flick movie, it delivers as there's plenty of explosions, plenty of firefights, plenty of action going on in this movie. I give it a B as far as that point. As far as a movie overall, this movie fails on to deliver on several fronts that I will not go back over again. So I give it a C minus. Overall, would I recommend go see this movie? Yes, I would, just for the sound and effects that are in this movie. Richard?
All right. Me personally, I don't recommend seeing this movie. I think if you this to me is literally a Redbox movie, and it's only because of the fact that if you've seen the first two, you just want to see this one, so you kind of complete the set. Uh, to me, in my opinion, the amount of action in it, I think, is overshadowed by the team building concepts that were thrown in the movie because you had to develop too many people and combine them all for this final act. Uh, the movie sounds great. I think there are some impressive action sequences, but I think to me it's a lot of missed opportunities. Antonio Banderas and Wesley Snipes, for all practical intents and purposes, they do very well in their roles. But everybody else, to me, they just seem like, hey, I'm here because Sly asked me back and I need a paycheck. So for me, I'm not even going to give it 2 ratings. I'm going to give it 1. I think it's a D, and that's at best. It's not Lucy bad because there are some things in it that do, merit actually saying you want to rent it. But to say I would actually go I spent $5.75 because I went to the Carmichael around here, so I don't feel too mad about that part. But if you're actually saying that you're going to go spend, above matinee price, even matinee price, it's just kind of like you're going to walk out of the theater, you're kind of going to forget really what you saw because there's nothing in it to me that was really memorable other than the two characters that I mentioned.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's a mind-numbing movie. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
If you it's like if you went like you were saying, it's like I think I can't say it feels like it's too long. I just feel that it's crowded. Like they're trying to do too much.
It's
like,
come on. If you thought Transformers was too long, this movie is definitely too long. That whole Kelsey Grammer, Sylvester Stallone recruiting the new team type thing.
That's done. That was done, quote unquote, for the sake of exposition. But I'm saying, it's like they were doing all those things were. It's like it was too much. I mean, yeah, I guess the same argument could be made because it's like a lot of exposition for really no purpose. The thing is, I think with Transformers, it's like half an hour could have been taken out. This movie, at least an hour could have been knocked off. You could have had like 60 minutes of guns and shots, and that's it, and you'd have been done. Like walking out of the movie, like, all right, that was awesome because you got guns and people getting shot, but other than that, it didn't really add anything to it. So
yeah, especially when he went down to Mexico to go get the other guy.
Matt said that. You're right. Yeah,
they had all that development that you were thinking you're going to get some more story about, and then it just shadowed on that. So
yeah.
There's several plot holes in this movie, but I kind of want to throw all that aside. It's like, did I enjoy the action? Yay or nay?
Yeah.
It was lacking the blood splatter, the intestines all out, the gore, the knives cutting people's arms off. It was lacking all that. You heard a couple of bones break.
Yeah.
You saw, Jason Statham cut a guy with no blood gushing out of him. So it was just, the movie is lacking, but as far as the action, let's just get off of this movie.
Because we disagree on this one.
We just disagree. Like Richard said, go see the movie if you want to complete the set.
On Redbox.
Okay, I'll give you that. Complete the set on Redbox. That's all. So I'm going on vacation next week, but I should have my Sunday free. I'm trying to set that up.
I don't think nothing's coming. Well, I think the only
Sin City: A Dame to Kill. That's the only.
That is right. That does come out this weekend. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to play around with that one because Sin City comes out, and then my girlfriend wants to go see If I Stay.
If I Stay.
It's a chick flick, don't worry. But it looks interesting. It's a book. It's based on a book, and it looks interesting. So I'm not against seeing it because I was like, oh, okay, that actually sounded. The premise is something that I could probably get down with. But yeah, while Sin City comes out, I did not realize that. Yeah.
I have a confession to make. So I went to go see the Expendables 3, and I earned enough to get a free movie ticket because apparently when you buy 2 tickets in concessions for 2 people, you rack up free stuff really quick. So I went to go see Let's Be Cops. Now, I don't know. Have you seen the movie yet?
Which movie is that again? You kind of broke out for a second.
Let's Be Cops.
No, I haven't seen it yet. How was it?
Yeah. I'm so happy that was a free ticket.
Okay, I kind of figured that was gonna be the case. Um,
To me, let me just go ahead and do this. I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it.
okay.
If you are a stoner or or you have a vice that gets you high, this movie's for you. I did not laugh at this movie. I think the only thing I laughed at was that one scene from the trailer where the girl picks him up and throws him down on the table.
Oh yeah.
Seeing that full sequence out, that was funny. Other than that, no. No.
So right now, Guardians of the Galaxy, unfortunately, is the best comedy of this summer, and it wasn't even trying to be.
Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy, and then that one scene in 22 Jump Street when Ice
Yeah,
Cube realizes.
yeah. That was funny, but that's one scene out of an entire movie where
But
Guardians
that
actually.
scene, though, is
Yeah, I ought to say, yeah, could that be worth the price of a matinee ticket? Almost, like it almost could. Like that plot point could almost be worth it, almost. Not fully, but almost. I give you that. You're right. You're right there.
yeah, especially like I guess those three scenes because you got to have that first scene where he goes and he tells everybody that he just slept with a girl, and then you need that scene where Ice Cube
Oh yeah.
realizes that he slept with his daughter. Then you need that scene where it takes Channing Tatum some time to put everything together, and then he acts a fool. And then after that, like you said, that's it. But Guardians of
Yeah.
the Galaxy was continuously funny throughout the entire movie, and it's kind of a shame because when I think about it, like to me, Ride Along was weak. About
Yeah.
Last Night was weak.
Mhm.
What other comedies came out?
22 Jump Street, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
I didn't even, yeah, A Million Ways Die in the West was in theaters for like 2 weeks and then gone.
Yeah. It didn't. It honestly didn't do anything. Um, there was another comedy that came. I don't think we saw it, but 22 Jump Street is the only one that we actually saw over the course of the summer.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe I need to, yeah, let's reach out to the viewers. If you know of a comedy
that came out
that
this
came out
summer. Yeah.
this summer, even if we have to go rent it, let's just, I want to review a really good comedy movie.
Yeah, because we haven't seen. I've like I said, Guardians is as close as we got. That was about it.
Yeah. So please, in the show notes, Q&A, email, hit me up. Let me know of a good comedy out there, and we'll review it. The Can't make any promises on next week for the Sin City: A Dame to Kill movie. That one is a tentative. And
We
then
could always do it on Monday, I guess. Was it Monday?
on Monday,
Monday or Tuesday, unless normally football started.
no. Real football season won't start for another 3 weeks.
Oh, so yeah, we're good.
So we got plenty of time. And as I look at the coming soon after Sin City, gosh, there is really nothing until the November Man
Yeah,
on
I kind of want to
August
see that,
27th.
but you know, I hope this. I hope like because you got November Man, The Equalizer. You have some of these other movies that are coming out. I hope that this trend of old guy trying to show that he still got it kind of stuff. I hope that it's not going to become the norm because I think the Expendables when it came out and did what it needed to do the first time, I think that was actually a really really cool premise. But I think they're starting to now wear it into the ground because our generation grew up with those guys being action heroes, but you got to get old sometime. Like you just that happens, and to I guess to kind of rekindle that flame. Yeah, it's appealing, especially if you're getting paid for it. But I just hope that if you're going to do it, make a product that actually is going to be worth seeing. So I think
Well, with that being said, I don't know what trailers were in front of your movie, but it seems to me Liam Neeson's agent, if you bring him a script that is not similar to Taken, he just throws it back at you. It's like, no. Liam Neeson plays Taken roles and Taken roles only. Because this other one, A Walk Amongst the Tombstones, I was thinking, this dude doing Taken again?
now,
Like,
that wasn't in front of my. I have to check. I'm gonna have to check that trailer out then.
yo, seriously, like there's Taken, Taken 2,
Nonstop.
Nonstop and
What's the?
Unforgettable. It's
Uh,
four movies the same way. You got a fifth one
yeah,
coming out that is practically the same movie. And what
yeah,
makes it so bad is that this Walks Amongst the Tombstone, I'm such a geek and such a nerd is that I'll probably read the book and then I'll probably go to watch the movie. Because when you put based off of New York Times bestseller, I'm just thinking, well, okay, to get on a New York Times bestseller, what's that, 100,000, a million copies you got to sell?
right.
So, and if people buy the book, book sales are definitely word of mouth. I've yet to see a commercial for a book in years. So
Right.
that's definitely word of mouth. And so if you can get enough people to 100,000, I don't know what it takes. So if you know what it
Right.
takes, if you can get that many people to buy the book, it has to be good. So and then this is what's going to be upsetting. I'm gonna read the book. I'm gonna get upset when the movie comes out because it's going to be crap. I don't know. I'm already getting mad internally, so I just need to.
You never know, man. It might be all right. The only other movie that I think every other movie that was on the trailer before it, I think we already talked about. Like the only one that really interested me was Fury with Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf,
What's
Michael
that?
Pena.
September,
I can't remember. I can't remember a date for it. And that was the funny thing. I think actually it's October.
October, and then there
Yeah.
was Maze Runner. That that was one that
Ye-
interests me.
Yeah, it's kind of like I know it's based off of one of these teen drama books type things. I'm interested in it, but it's kind of like I want to read the book to see if I actually would care, and then whether or not I want to go see the movie. Because I heard Divergent wasn't bad. I heard it's not like great, but I heard it wasn't terrible. Like Twilight and that other movie that woman did, or book that was based on one of her movies.
Yeah, so Divergent, I guess my core with Divergent was I picked it up last year during football season because my
Hmm.
mom said, "Oh, you like the Hunger Games? Read Divergent. It's gonna be the next one to take the world by storm." And I was thinking, "Oh, okay." And while reading it, I could not stop myself from comparing it to the Hunger Games in every aspect because it's basically like 22 Jump Street. It is the same book, just a
Hmm.
different name on the cover. And I didn't finish that book, and then I went to go see the movie, and I had no ambition to finish the first book and continue reading the other books in the series.
Yeah.
It just didn't appeal to me. But it seems like I was looking at the upcoming movie releases. It seems like you got November Man, the 27th of, what you call it,
September.
August.
Oh,
And then you have a couple movies in September. That was the Maze Runner, and I forgot the other one you mentioned. But the
Fury.
Fury is on October 17th.
Yeah, I do want to see that.
I
That
do, I do. I respect Brad Pitt as an actor. The
yeah,
Equalizer, that was the other one,
that's
September
September.
26th. That's one
Yeah.
I definitely want to go see as well. So,
Apparently it was based off. I was talking to one of my coworkers about it and said apparently that's based off of a TV show, an old TV show.
see, that's
So
what my pops was telling me as well. Is that, oh, like they're redoing the Equalizer again.
yeah,
And
and
he
I was
was
like,
talking
okay.
about it. It was an older TV show or movie. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that one up when I get a free moment and check it out.
And I always put it to people like this when it comes to Denzel Washington movies. It's one of two ways. Either they're really good or they're really bad. He does not do a middle of the road movie.
Yeah, yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Or at least he's really good in it. Everybody else might be bad, but he's really. Everybody else might not be too hot, but he's at least good. So yeah.
All right, so there you have it, people. The schedule goes as far as now. A Dame, Sin City, A Dame to Kill, tentative on the schedule. Definites coming up are going to be, and I hope I get this in the correct order, but I already forgot what comes out on the 27th of
Oh,
August.
was it the November Man?
Yeah, November Man, and then we have Maze Runner, followed by Maze Runner on September 19th, followed by the September 19th is a Friday, so the 21st. Well, I'm just giving you all Friday dates. I'm sorry. So the 27th, November Man, the August the 27th, November Man, September 19th, Maze Runner, September 26th, The Equalizer, and October 17th, we have The Fury. So it seems like the summer blockbuster series has actually come to an end because movies are not coming out back to back on weekends. They're starting to spread some dates out.
Yeah.
So they'll give me plenty of time to get the show out in advance. Just want to let you know that this was my first show ever promoted on Facebook.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
yeah. So I signed on to that sucker and I promoted it on Facebook. So hopefully we can get some more views out there. And just want to give a little shout out to myself that my gym acrobats on the trampoline, one of those videos actually hit 100 views for the first time. So thank you so much for y'all's support out there. I have no plans of going back there and continue that. I actually had a slight tear in my left meniscus, which is inner ligament on your left knee.
Yeah, that ain't cool.
Yeah, and they were all telling you that, jumping on trampolines is so much safer than running and everything. And I was thinking, oh, okay, cool. That'll help me with my cardiovascular, because I did it. I was looking for something to do in the wintertime to keep my cardiovascular system up, and lo and behold, I wind up slightly tearing my left meniscus. So it'll be interesting. I got to find something else to do this wintertime, so you never know. Whatever it is, I might get videotaped.
Yeah.
So, Richard, as always, tell the people how they can find you.
Gplus.2/Optimus124 as always.
And me, as always, the link right down there. You can find me there with my photos and whatnot, and hopefully you'll see some cool vacation photos, all PG-13, of course. And then you can find me on Google Plus at The Mind of Cube, and you can also find me on Facebook, because that sucker has been dusted off. So I'll start promoting some of my shows out there as well. You can also find me on Twitter, even though I've kind of fallen off the Twitter face, kind of agreeing with Richard. 140 characters really doesn't describe me well enough. I need infinity times more than that. So until our next show, whenever that may be, either it's this coming up Sunday or the Sunday the 29th, stay tuned and check your mailbox for another invite. As always, appreciate you watching. And again, viewers, I had you watching, but you didn't leave any questions, so I don't know what's going on.
It happens.
It happens. It happens. All right. Until then, stay classy.